Oh, welcome everybody back to the Los Angeles PC Top Cut. We're in top four now. The match we're going to be streaming this time is Hugo Cortez versus Nathaniel Christmas.
Nathaniel, fresh off his top 16 finish at the U.S. Nationals this year.
Yep, and Nathaniel's. I'm not sure if he's using the same team he used at National. He is. Okay, so he's using Snorlax, Arcanine, Torkoal, Porygon 2, Lilligant, and Ninetales, which is very interesting to have both Hail and Sun on the same team. But obviously, Nathaniel is able to make it work against Hugo Cortez, who has Arcanine, Tapu Koko, Garchomp, Gyarados, Snorlax, and Porygon 2.
A really unorthodox team. Well, from Nathan specifically.
Yeah, Nathaniel definitely has a team that I don't think I've ever seen. I mean, I've seen the combination of like Torkoal, Lilligant, and P2 with maybe a Snorlax, but never with Ninetales on the same team. So it'll be interesting to see how he makes it work. Obviously, he did really well at the U.S. Nationals, and he's in the top 4 here at the Los Angeles PC.
Hugo, on the other hand, using a tried and tested team. What looks like Christopher Kahn's 6.
Yep, and he does have the double Intimidate here, but a lot of Nathaniel's Pokemon are special attackers, so I don't think he'll be bringing more than one Intimidate at a time, but he could. So, but the game is about to start here. Game 1 of the top 4 at the Los Angeles PC. Winner moves on to the game. It's game 1, so he has to. Someone has to win 2 games and a best of 3. That's how the rules. That's how the rules work. Yeah. All right, so the match is about to start. Nathaniel leads with Snow and Pancake, which is Snorlax and the Ninetales against Hugo's Tapu Koko and Arcanine.
Nicknames versus shinies.
Yep, and the Tapu Koko is shiny, so it identifies that it is a distribution Tapu Koko, which is timid. And Arcanine, well, it's an Arcanine. So, what do you think of this lead for both players?
Well, I believe the Koko Arcanine lead is the Alolan Landorus Thundurus lead. It's very consistent, and I can see why he brought it against a team with the Sun component, because the Sun lead threatens the Sleep and the Fire type damage, so leading Koko Arcanine covers for both.
Gotcha.
Seems like Nathan reacted to it though, with a different lead.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see like what both players go for. Turn 1, there's always so much information that that's not revealed yet. And Arcanine is going to go for the extreme speed onto that Ninetales. Going to do a good amount of damage. And the Thunderbolt onto the Ninetales. Is it going to be able to pick up the KO? It is.
A very decisive double.
Yeah, it double up into it. But the Snorlax does go for the belly drum. So now it's going to be able to threaten just about everything on the field. Very interesting. And the Snorlax is going to eat that berry. Yum, yum, yum. It's going to go back to full. And now Hugo's staring down a +6 Snorlax, which is not something anyone wants to stare down at any point in time.
No, not at all. And also the shiny Koko shows that the potential Z option is not going to be as strong as a modest one, so that could be something that people can look at.
Yep, and we did find out that it is not a Life Orb Tapu Koko, but was it? I don't think it was.
No, it was not.
It was not a Life Orb, so it could be a Z-move Koko. It could also be a Choice Band Koko. I mean, not Choice Band. It could also be a Choice Specs Koko. So we're about to find. Hugo does go for. Nathaniel does put in P2, so he could set up Trick Room now. So we're gonna see what Hugo decides to go for here. He could double up into the Snorlax.
This is really tough for Hugo.
Yeah, it was just a tough for Nathaniel, however, because that Snorlax could potentially go down here.
Yeah, that's true. It's going to depend on investments.
Yeah.
We'll see.
If that Ninetales is able to set up Aurora Veil, I would say that Nathaniel's in a really good spot. But now with, Tapu Koko and the Arcanine, it could double up into the Snorlax. But Arcanine does switch out here. Interesting. So Snorlax comes in for the Arcanine. Tapu Koko goes for the Protect. And let's see what Nathaniel's going to do with that P2 and that. Ooh, the Snorlax goes for the Recycle, and the P2 is going to move last, so he's definitely going to go for the Trick Room. Very interesting. Very good play for Nathaniel there, because now he has a +6 Snorlax with the Berry, with Trick Room up, and it's going to be rough for Hugo to take down the Snorlax before it gets destroyed.
Good job to Hugo, though. I still think he made, what is probably the safest play out of that situation. He's still behind on the setup element, but that turn could have went much worse. calling that Trick Room, at least that's what it seemed like he was doing. I think that's going to be one way that he can do to get out of this situation.
Well, we're going to have to see, because now the Snorlax just threatens everything. So, I don't know what Hugo Snorlax can do other than set up his own belly drum, but, you know, Hugo is going to get his, Nathaniel is going to be able to get to move and do something before Snorlax sets up at all. Unless Snorlax gets foul play and nobody told me, and I don't know I really don't know what Hugo can do here, but Top Coco is going to go switch out into the Arcanine, going to get Intimidate now, so maybe now the Snorlax can survive a, you know, a +5 return.
+5 return, yeah. Depends on the investment.
Ooh, Snorlax is going to go for the curse, so it's definitely going to be really rough for that other Snorlax to be able to knock it out here.
That's probably minimum speed. So knowing that is very useful for this Trick Room state that we're in.
Yep, so now the Pancake is going to go for the return onto the Snorlax. It's going to do a lot of damage, but not enough to pick up a KO. And the Snorlax does eat the berry, so he's going to be able to get most of his health back. And the Porygon 2 is going to go for the Thunderbolt onto the Arcanine, doing a lot of damage here.
Does the Hail proc the berry on the Arcanine?
I don't know. We're about to find out.
I haven't quite seen the HP numbers, so I can't say, but...
Yeah, Hugo did a very good switch-ins, and he was able to switch in.
Barely misses the berry activation.
Yep, he misses the berry activation here, but another turn of Hail should be able to do it. Hugo played very well for the situation that he was in. You know, staring down a +6 Snorlax in Trick Room is not an easy situation.
Nathaniel in a very commanding position. The fact that Hugo's Snorlax uses Curse means that it's a lot slower. So in this Snorlax mirror, where what it seems like both players are using Snorlax as their win condition, the faster one tends to win in a turn-by-turn game. So with Nathaniel's Snorlax already set up and Hugo's on the process of doing so, how long can this really last?
Yeah, we're going to see what either player could go for here. Arcanine is going to go for the Protect, so if he does indeed hold the berry, another turn of Hail should be able to activate, while the Snorlax goes for another Curse, but I don't know if he's going to be able to take another return here. So we're about to find out. Snorlax is going to go for a return onto this other Snorlax. Is it going to be able to pick up a KO? It is not. It survives with only 15 HP. Porygon 2 goes for the Thunderbolt onto the Protect from the Arcanine, but the Hail damage here is going to put the Snorlax into 4 HP.
I expected a double into the Snorlax, but I think that's fine. This is something that Nathaniel can learn from game 1 and adapt, and, well,
you know, it's a little bit rough to, like, you know, it's hard to see if whether or not that return was it going to be able to pick up a KO. Obviously, you know, it could have been a roll.
Yeah,
it could have
that's
been
a fair statement.
It could have been something that, you know, Nathaniel did not see it coming. But, you know, now that Snorlax is at +2 defense and +2 attack, Arcanine is going to switch out for the Gyarados, so it's going to get another Intimidate out onto this Snorlax. So Snorlax is slowly but surely losing its boost. Hugo is putting a lot of, like, he's not putting a lot of pressure onto Nathaniel, but he's slowly removing that advantage that Nathaniel had with the +6 Snorlax. And the Snorlax is going to go for a return, get the Figgy Berry up. It's going to be able to get most of its health back, up to 50%, a little bit over 50%. And another return from the Snorlax onto the Snorlax is going to do a massive amount of damage. It survives with only 7 HP. But the turn, and it doubles up into the Snorlax, so Snorlax is gone now.
I would have liked to see the Intimidate shuffle happen one turn sooner. That might have made the difference that would have resulted in the difference between Snorlax living or dying.
Yep. So, yeah, Nathaniel was in a very commanding lead here. He has a Porygon that we have seen has Thunderbolt, so it threatens the Gyarados quite a bit. Gyarados, the Snorlax is at +4 now, so, and it's at full health with Berry, so it's Nathaniel is, like, in a very, very good position here. I think he's going to be able to pick up this, should be able to win this game.
We'll see about that. Gyarados is definitely scared, though, with the Thunderbolt being revealed from the Porygon 2.
Yeah, it's definitely, because here Nathaniel can just go for the, you know, safe play. We're going for the Thunderbolt and to the return into this Arcanine, and there's really not much that Hugo can do here in the situation.
Yeah. I feel like this was kind of a misaligned win condition between the two players. Maybe we'll see an adaptation coming from game 2.
Yep. So both Gyarados and Arcanine is going to go for the Protect here. And Snorlax is going to go for return onto the Arcanine and T-Bolt into the Gyarados slot. So, you know, pretty predictable play here, but, you know, I think both players went for the best plays they could in that situation.
Yes, definitely. being able to stall out that last turn of Trick Room will now put Hugo in a situation where he can start trying to get his way out of the dominant position held by Nathaniel.
What? It just looks so rough for Hugo here right now because like he just doesn't have any tools to deal with that Snorlax. You know, the Snorlax is a +6, still has the berry, but we see here that it's gonna go Gyarados or is gonna go for a Supersonic Sky Strike onto one of the two opposing Pokemon. Now the question is it gonna be into the Snorlax or is it gonna be into the P2? You know,
I'd like to see it onto the Snorlax.
Yeah, it could go into the Snorlax, but the problem here is that, you know, Supersonic Sky Strike, unless he crits, it's going to be able to just activate the berry and get that Snorlax back to pretty much full. And it does not crit, so Snorlax is going to be able to survive that. Meanwhile, Arcanine is going to go for the Flare Blitz, so unless he can get a burn here, that Snorlax is going to be able to dish a ton of damage back into one of Hugo's Pokemon.
I really like the way Hugo identified his win condition from the sports state and went for the best play. Even though it didn't work out, I'd like to see some similar thought processes come in and, well, adapt against that strategy for game 2.
Yeah, it's pretty much game here. I mean, Snorlax can just freely go for Recycle. P2 can go for something like Thunderbolt onto the Gyarados, and so Gyarados is not going to be able to move do anything before he gets knocked out here. And Tapu Koko, unless I don't know what Tapu Koko could do here, but it's pretty much game at this point. Maybe Hugo wants to get a little bit more information out of this game, but I don't think there's any more information to be revealed other than what has been shown.
Perhaps. I like to see what he is thinking at the moment, but I can't, so that's sad. But
You didn't bring your mind reader device today?
oh no.
Oh, okay, well, that sucks.
Oh well. But this is yeah, not much to say about this board state given that the game has swung past that crucial point. But I still think the Coco and the Arcanine were somewhat underutilized. I feel like in a different in a different team preview, in a different selection, we could see them have more impact and be able to see what they're really built for.
You know, Hugo was able to pick up an early lead with that knockout onto Ninetales, but the problem here is that Nathaniel was able to set up the Snorlax, and from there it was just a huge threat that just that Hugo just couldn't handle it, and so it's going to be interesting to see what he can do to adapt here.
I think what Nathaniel did in the first game was very interesting, forcing the opponent to choose between two things. I feel like he did that knowing that his opponent's team is something that he knew, and that he knew that the tech moves that could deal with that situation does not exist.
So we're about to go into game 2 here on the top 4 at the Los Angeles Premier Challenge, a very prestigious event because we hold the roughest Premier Challenges in the world.
The best in the US, the best in the world.
So we have just one more game here, or maybe 2, depending on how it goes. But see how Hugo adapts here. Nathan picks his Pokemon very quick, so he's very confident in his strategy. Yeah. Or maybe he did switch his strategy. He already had a plan B.
Could be a mind game, yeah. I would assume that he brought a similar strategy, given that it worked really well last time. But he might be doing this fast to like force a mind game where maybe he had a game 2 strategy planned out with a different 4, and this is just the way to mind game. That would be interesting.
Yeah, so Hugo Cortez is taking his time here. You know, it's very important. He does have to win the next 2 games, so it's very important that he does bring the right 4 Pokemon to deal with the threat of like the Snorlax.
With this being the match point, I'd say he should take every second that he has, given that this could be his last, potentially.
Yeah. So, you know, taking this time is very important. We're going to see what he's going to go for here.
Yeah, the shiny Coco part, I mean, I don't really like shiny Coco, but like, that was what the team that won the international was like, so like, maybe it's not like a bad thing, but I mean, for me, the timid nature implies that the Z move is not threatening enough to get like Oko options, so I like to see how he plays this out.
Yeah. We're gonna find out what we're gonna go into game 2 here with Nathan taking game 1 here, so he just needs to win one more game. He's on to the finals. So we got Garchomp and Arcanine for Hugo as his lead.
Snow and Bob.
Yep. And meanwhile, Nathaniel does go with a different lead this time with the Ninetales and the Arcanine. Very interesting, that the lead is so different from the last time.
I feel like his game 1 strategy was a hard setup strategy. that is potentially vulnerable to changes or, bursts of randomness like critical strikes.
I think he turned. No, I think he turned off the power. Oh wait, the mic was muted, so they didn't hear.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, I was amazed by that brick break. That brick break that the Garchomp went for here. So
That
no.
full tech keeps Hugo ahead in Pokemon numbers, but we're back to the same game 1, turn 1 situation.
Yep. But now, well, the only difference here is that the Snorlax is not set up, so it will have to spend one turn at the very least setting up here.
Nathaniel forced the 50-50 like last time, or it
Well,
wasn't really a 50-50, but like
yeah, we
that-
don't know what the item is on that. I mean, what the 4 movesets onto that Snorlax is. Arcanine is going to go for a Flare Blitz plus a Brick Break onto this Snorlax. It's going to do a bit of damage, but not enough to pick up a KO, not even close. And it's going to activate the Berry, and we're going to see whether or not this... I mean, this Snorlax might just set up again, which is exactly what it goes for. It goes for the Belly Drum, which means that Porygon 2 is going to go for the Trick Room, so not much has changed. Like, the Snorlax is set up at +6, the Garchomp is Garchomping. I don't know. There's just...
There's definitely the team matchup involved. It's very difficult for Hugo 6, assuming it's very similar to Christopher Khan's, that it's very difficult for him to burn down a Snorlax and a Porygon 2 at the same time. And he has to deal with both at the same time, or at least one thing goes up. And what could be the thing in his bag? Could it be Torkoal after Trick Room?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the boost that Porygon 2 got because of the monitor got shut off. So if he, the Garchomp could survive an Ice Beam here and maybe go for Tectonic Rage onto the Snorlax, but or maybe it will get knocked out. Who knows? But the Snorlax is taking quite a bit of damage, so I'm not sure if Hugo is gonna want to. I mean, Nathaniel is gonna want to go for Recycle, or he's gonna want to go for an attack.
I think both players realize that the out for both players is centered around the Belly Drum Snorlax. Switching out Porygon 2 to better keep Snorlax is, I think, really good.
Well, Hugo's going to switch out his Garchomp for the Gyarados, so we don't know whether or not that... we really don't know right now what the item is on that Garchomp. It's going to get Intimidated out onto the Snorlax, but now it's still a +5. They go for the Recycle, so his health is going to go right back up to almost full here.
Yeah, I feel like for Nathaniel, there was only one real play to make.
Yep. Snorlax, Arcanine is going to go for the Toxic. Very interesting. I'm surprised he didn't go for something like that earlier. Just try and stall out this Snorlax now. It does remind me a little bit of U.S. Nationals towards the final where, but this Snorlax does not have Facade. So...
And there's no Rock Slide going on right now. So.
Yep. So Hugo is going to be able to chip down the Snorlax slowly but surely. But at the same time, he can pick up a couple KOs before a couple of things happen. So, I mean,
think the decisive turn was last turn. I felt that in terms of the team matchups, it just came down to preserving and eliminating that one threat that was very difficult to answer. So I think both players are playing to that out, and we'll see how it goes. But I feel like the next 2 to 3 turns, what happens then could still definitely alter the outcome of this game.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely like Hugo's position a little bit more this time now because that Snorlax is on a timer right now, so it's gonna go down eventually, maybe sooner than later. Is gonna switch out the Arcanine for the Garchomp, and the Arcanine is going to switch back into the Porygon 2.
Interesting.
So we're going to see like what that Snorlax goes for. I mean, it can pick up a KO into either one of these Pokemon right now. Gyarados is going to go for the Protect, but if you know that you have a Porygon that can just T-Bolt that Snorlax, but Snorlax goes for a Recycle here. It's a very good play from Nathaniel, because he's going to be able to dish out damage and at the same time be able to just hold down the fort with this and be able to just don't have to worry about going for Recycle later. And we did see that the Gyarados went for the Protect now, so
this turn is very interesting. I feel like more information is going to be revealed by the end of this turn, unless there are ways to change the positioning of the field right now. So I think in order for Hugo's team to combat Nathaniel's team, there has to be that Intimidate Shuffle, simply because other than the Toxic, there doesn't seem to be many elements that allow Hugo to deal with Nathaniel's Belly Drum Snorlax in a timely fashion.
Gyarados is going to switch out here for the Arcanine, so that Intimidate Shuffle is happening right now. I mean, that Snorlax is still a huge threat. It's going to be able to pick up a KO into whoever he wants, and it's going to go for the Arcanine, so Arcanine is going to go down here for sure.
This could reveal the Garchomp set.
Yeah,
Con had a Assault Vest, but this could be something else.
Yeah, and Porygon 2 is going to go for the Ice Beam onto this Garchomp. It does quite a bit of damage, and it gets the freeze onto the Garchomp. That's very big. Oh my lord, that's huge.
This RNG really invalidates the point of Assault Vest. Like, you can live the Ice Beam, but if you get frozen, well, that's unfortunate.
That is very unfortunate. We don't know what that Garchomp went for, but that is so unfortunate for Hugo right now. But, you know, that's part of the game. Sometimes you get frozen, sometimes you get critted, sometimes you miss high jump kick in top 8. So, yeah. So that Garchomp is nice and frozen. That Porygon 2 is still a very good health. And the Snorlax is slowly chipping away and getting intimidated in the process. So it's interesting that Snorlax is, like, the Toxic timer is ticking down. Eventually he's not going to be able to hold, like, do much. But with that Garchomp frozen, it's such a bad position for Hugo, unfortunately.
Yeah, and the fact that Porygon 2 can simultaneously threaten both. Well, not at the same time, but the fact that it has the option to choose between one of them and do significant damage, I think this is going to force more reaction. So, like, it really follows that difference between a reactive strategy and a proactive strategy. So I think here we can clearly see who is more proactive and who has to be more reactive.
Well, I don't know, Hugo, that Porygon 2 threatens the Gyarados. It's a difficult position. Tapu Koko is going to come in, but I don't know if he's going to be able to take a combination between a T-Bolt plus a return if Nathaniel decides to double up into that slot.
At this point, Hugo's playing to one of his.
Oh, but interesting.
I like that switch.
I like the switch, but I'm surprised that Snorlax went for the Garchomp since it was frozen. It wasn't as much of a threat, and now the T-Bolt onto the Gyarados, which was a Gyarados slot, and now it's a Tapu Koko. It's not going to do that much damage, but it's going to be very interesting here, because unless Hugo can pick up a KO onto this P2 before it sets up a Trick Room again, that Snorlax is just going to be able to destroy everything.
Yeah, we'll see how this goes.
I don't know how many times the Snorlax has been intimidated at this point, but I still don't think Koko can survive a return at this range.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a very important turn. Gyarados is threatened by the P2, but the Snorlax is threatening the Koko and the Gyarados to a certain degree. But
despite the Intimidate, Snorlax still does lethal damage. And now there's no more switchings, no more Intimidate. This is a tough spot.
Yeah, I mean, it can go either way right now. Like, we still don't know what the item is on the Tapu Koko. If it's something like a Choice Specs plus a Supersonic Sky Strike from the Gyarados, it might be able to pick up a KO onto this P2, and then it would be just Gyarados, and it would be just Snorlax to pretty much fend off himself with the Arcanine in the back. But, you know,
there's always the possibility of the Arcanine switching. We'll see what decisions are being made, but, you know, both these players, they have to take into account all those situations that they know.
Gyarados actually goes for a Protect. I'm a little bit confused by that play, but we'll see. Koko is gonna go for a Z move. So here comes the what do you call this?
Gigavolt Havoc.
Gigavolt Havoc into the, what I'm going to assume it's the Snorlax.
The fact that it shows that it's timid is very significant because the nature, assuming a double down scenario, will actually determine whether the 41-2 or the Snorlax can get doubled down. Obviously, the timid nature compared to modest will make it a lot worse.
Well,
But Snorlax has chip damage, so that's good.
yeah, Snorlax does go down here, interestingly enough, but now the... But Hugo's still not in a great spot because now Trick Room is up, the Gyarados is going to... I mean, the Arcanine is going to come in, and... just gonna be able to, I don't know, it's, well, the Arcanine is gonna be able to take out this Coco unless he gets a crit, but even if he doesn't, the P2 should be able to win this game by itself.
Yeah, Porygon 2 doing a lot of good stuff in this set, being able to threaten a lot of mons. Yeah, with the Trick Room being set up, and Hugo having fast Pokemon, it's tough.
Gyarados going to go for another Protect. It does not get it. The Thunderbolt is going to go for the Gyarados with the Electric Training Boost. It should be able to pick up a KO. It definitely picks up a KO here. And I think it's pretty much over. Oh, and we do see that the Arcanine is a Z Fire move.
Yeah, we haven't seen that until
yeah,
this turn.
Yeah, we have not seen it now. And unfortunately, I don't think there's anything Hugo is just going to get knocked out of here in top 4, but he still is able to get top 4 here. And you know, that's a very difficult Premier Challenge. We have players like Riley Factura, Alberto Lara.
And Giovanni Costa?
No, that guy's a scrub.
Don't worry, Terry's worse, that's what I heard.
Yeah, that guy sucks. But congratulations to Nathaniel, who moves on to the final of the Los Angeles PC here. Who's going to face off? We still don't know who he's going to face off. By the look of...
Close game 3 perhaps, happening between Miley and Len. Well played from both players though.
Yeah, it was definitely very, very well played, but that Snorlax was just too much of a threat. Yeah, but, you know.
I'm still glad to see Hugo identifying all his outs though.
Yeah.
That's very significant, since this is a game not about winning, but about maximizing odds.
Well, most people say it's about winning, but...
Yeah,
but, you know, Nathaniel played really, really well. His team, you know, his team may look weird, but it works. It simply works for him. So, yeah.
But seeing the team in action really puts that into light. The Fire and Z on Arcanine, it makes total sense given the Sun mode in his team. I think there's a lot of very conscious decisions going into the decisions behind the team building. I like it.
So it seems like Riley lost in top 4. So it looks Nathaniel is going to be facing off against Lenny.
Len Duel.
Yep. So finals is going to start pretty soon, guys. Hold on to your horses and like your Mudsdale. Yeah, hold on to your Mudsdales. And we will be right back.